I need to get some water. This is bad timing. I have water. Don't worry.
We just did the claps.
I know,
The episode's starting. We're starting to welcome to Drafted. It's your host, Preston, with no Daniel.
My allergies are kicking off. I'm really
Daniel had to go get some water.
Welcome to Drafted. I'm your host, Daniel Prentice, and as always, I am joined by my dear friend and co-host, Preston Thompson. Preston, how are you, and what are you drinking tonight, my friend?
I'm so good, Daniel. We managed to get one of these on a Saturday,
yes.
So I feel less bad about publicly drinking on a Saturday.
We're turning up, baby!
Publicly in my own room. I am drinking a Hell or High watermelon from the 21st Amendment Brewery. Fruity stuff, man. Fruity beers. I'm always
watermelon beer, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Is it good? Is it too sweet?
I suffer from marketing when it comes to beer. I literally go to the store and I look at all the labels and I'm like, ooh, that's pretty. And then I buy it.
I mean, they pay people the big bucks for, designing
this
cans for that very reason.
For people like me.
Shouldn't your brother just have you on the ins and outs of what all the good beer is?
We have a different palate. He would say his is sophisticated and mine is that of a rube. So I drink the fruity stuff.
Rube 1 is a great word, and 2 much nicer than you could have gone. There were a lot of options that we would have had to cut from the show. So thank you for going Rube. Sure. Now, this week we are thrilled. We just realized that this now makes her our most common guest on the show, so we hope you like her. If you don't, put on a happy face and pretend to, please. We're joined by Kelsey Hayden. Kelsey, how are you, and what are you drinking tonight?
I am great. And actually, just to clarify, Preston did also just say that I was his favorite guest on the show.
That's true. He did say that.
I'm not ashamed to say
I just want that on record.
All other guests are going to be beating down the doors.
Exactly. Come at me, Keith.
Well, actually, based on how I perform on the show, I'm not good at picking favorite things. So maybe being my favorite choice.
That's true. I'm actually least likely to win now.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bummer. That's a real bummer for you.
Brutal.
I'm doing
brutal
great.
self-own for both of you, really.
Yeah. I am drinking water. I'm always drinking water.
Kelsey, it's Saturday.
I know. I'm too much of a lightweight. I can't do something that's going to be on the internet and drink. I can't.
Oh my God.
I'm a lightweight. It would only take me one drink.
It's the only way I can do this show. You're also in lockdown quarantine right now.
I am.
So you have no excuses for not drinking tonight.
I know. I think that lockdown really increased everyone's alcohol intake, but it really decreased mine. I realized
mine too,
that
actually.
I just like drinking socially, and so I drank way less this year because you're not allowed to socialize. So
yeah, no, I'm actually the same. I haven't been to a bar.
Yeah,
and I don't really drink at home almost ever. So yeah, I've had very little to drink. Really, apart from this show, I don't drink at all.
Kelsey, I want to pitch you on a Saturday night drink. And I'm not trying to peer pressure you. I'm just telling you where we're at right now.
Okay.
So a few days ago, China launched a giant rocket into space. And it was supposed to ditch the much bigger rocket that was attached to it, and it didn't. So now there's a giant rocket. It's about 10 stories tall, and it will crash into Earth somewhere in the next 2 weeks, we think.
Is this true?
This is real.
Okay.
Yes.
First time
and
hearing
some scientists were quoted saying that it will crash, and I'm realizing my error now.
Ass crash. That's what crash means.
It will crash somewhere between New Zealand and New York on a north to south spectrum. So you were outside of that.
That's a massive range.
But that is a big range.
That's huge.
All of humanity is within those two lines.
Is this real? This is a real story?
Yes. It will crash in the next 2 weeks.
I mean, I guess odds are still that it'll fall in the ocean, but not that good.
It's not that crazy. It is supposedly the largest unassisted re-entry object that we have. Like the largest man-made.
So it was supposed to do the regular thing where a little guy goes up and ditches the big guy pretty early. It was supposed to do that, and it didn't do it. Interesting.
That's what I think is correct. Yes.
Well, yeah. So that doesn't push me to drink because I'm in the safe zone, which kind of is the theme of this year, actually.
In that story.
Well, you can celebrate being in the safe zone.
That's true.
So this is one of those rare times when we're recording Drafted where if I'm wrong, I usually tell you don't tweet at me because I don't care. If I'm wrong, do tweet at me. I do care because this is kind of an existential thing because this could hit literally anywhere.
I can't believe it. I'm going to research this and hoping that this is something that Preston is incorrect about.
Well, I thought it might come up, so I researched it before we recorded the show a little bit more, and it seems right.
Based on our draft topic, how did you figure this might come up?
I don't know. I just thought
the only way it's coming up is if you bring it up.
if it hits our fantasy zoos.
All right, hey, no spoilers.
Yeah, sorry.
I realized I never said what I drank last week. No one seemed to care. But this week I am drinking from Cigar City, their double IPA Florida Man, which seems very apropos. And my friend Zach brought some beers. He was our first post-COVID. I mean, COVID is still real, but me and my family were all fully vaccinated now. So he was like our first visitor. He and his very adorable little son. So that was a very nice visit. It felt like a first kind of foray back into something resembling normal for the Floridian prentices. So cheers to him. I actually am not liking this beer very much. It's like, it's a little too much, I think. But Cigar City, I love Cigar City. Shout out to Cigar, like Highlight is a great IPA. And they're a good local Florida, down in Tampa, but still, a local microbrew. So, but without further ado, since Preston already alluded to it a little bit, what are we drafting tonight?
So, tonight we are drafting Harry Potter creatures to make the best. I have called it a Muggle tourist trap. We don't really want to call it a zoo because putting some of these creatures in a zoo seems a little odd. I was pitching around the idea earlier today of like a African safari zone where you're more like driving a Jeep through the wilderness. And then my co-host politely pointed out that would just mean all the animals would kill each other. So, use your imagination.
It's nature. Okay, they wouldn't necessarily kill each other. Like there are still animals alive for safaris. They haven't all eaten each other to extinction.
This is true. Some very magical fences will be put up in this thing.
And fences always work, as we've learned in lots of movies.
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking kind of a Jurassic Park style park here. I want to take over a whole island.
Okay, so something's going to go horribly wrong.
Yes,
the point is it's ethical as as we can be. The zoos are already pretty dicey, ethically speaking, at best, I would say, in a lot of cases. And then you get some of these creatures we're drafting might be a little sentient, more so than a typical animal. So we just this is my first. It could be a nature preserve. They're free to come and go.
This is my first question. A lot of these creatures, and we're using a set list here that I guess we'll put out on Twitter or something like that. A lot of them, there's a sentence in their description that says can speak to humans or can speak English, basically, which immediately made me want to remove them from my board. But are those things included? And also we talked about earlier, centaurs are like a race. They're not like a creature. They're like a race of people that have civilization built up, right? So you guys are gonna have to help me out because I've read 3 of the books and watched all the movies, but hopefully you're a little more into it than I am.
So currently I am on the harrypotter.fandom.com, the Harry Potter wiki, essentially. And they have a list of creatures that are, I think, any creature that is ever mentioned in the Harry Potter expanded universe. So including the Cursed Child and the Fantastic Beasts movies. And they break them down into categories. And the first one is beasts, and then there are beings.
Yeah.
And so beings are Kurupira, I don't even know what that is, but a dwarf, giant, goblin, hag, house elf, human, ogre, vampire, Vila, werewolf, and a yumbo, whatever the hell that is. So these are all humanoid things.
Yeah, so the definition of being is that they would understand laws and kind of be at least partially responsible in following them.
Okay. And so centaurs, which I think are the big question mark here, are under beasts. So and
that's interesting though. Do you know
I am
why?
going to be taking a centaur, just FYI. If you guys don't.
I read more about like the categories. So there's beasts categories, beasts, beings, and spirits. So like I said, beings can like understand laws and would have like some responsibility in like keeping them to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Beasts would just be like a creature, and then spirits are obviously like things like ghosts.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting is that there are things that were categorized as beings, like a centaur, that they reject that categorization. Mer people also fall under that. They actually choose to be considered a beast. Or really their choice is to not be considered by humans at all.
But are they going to choose to live in my zoo is the question.
Well, so it's just kind of interesting. Choice, I don't think so.
But I think, to me, I think that like all are on the table, but when people are voting, maybe they should consider
the ethical
side. You know, I personally, like, I've been to zoos. I've been to a bunch of zoos, and I have mixed feelings on zoos at best. But I usually
this coming from the person who likes to club seals, we know.
Okay.
That's true. Our resident Cleel supper is what I just said.
My favorite zoo is the Vancouver one, which is a research zoo. So, you know. Anyways, no, they like. I think they're like weird at best, but it always feels really weird when you get to like the gorilla pen and you watch them like open a carton of milk like a human, and you're like, we're doing something wrong here. So
a couple branches on the tree and those are reversed.
Yeah, people can consider that in their votes, I think, but I do think that they should all be on the table.
Okay,
I agree.
I'm okay with that.
And I will reveal the draft order here. Kelsey will be leading us off. I'll be drafting second, and then Preston. Why can't I speak tonight? I have half of an IPA, a double IPA, and I can't speak. Preston is picking third. I don't know what the hell that was. Preston has the third pick, and then, of course, as always, snake draft, so the order will reverse on even rounds. So, Kelsey. Yes. You are apparently a zoo expert here.
Well,
why don't you're also, I think, the most read when it comes to Harry Potter stuff. So why don't you, this is fitting that you have the first pick, I think. So why don't you take us away?
I think so too. So actually when we first talked about this draft idea a couple of days ago, I was like, oh, it'll be interesting. I wonder if there's enough creatures that we actually will know, because I knew there would be a huge list of creatures, but some of them are probably mentioned like once when you know, like Lupin is teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts or like whatever. So I wasn't sure if there'd be a ton that we would actually know, but there are a ton that I think that are mentioned, and so many good ones. And I was like, wow, if I end up with like any of these creatures in my zoo, it's going to be really, really cool. That being said, I think there's an obvious number one. I'm very curious if you guys agree, but to me, the obvious number one pick is a dragon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the
question is which dragon?
So
I read a lot about this today, and I was thinking. So I'm curious what you have to say.
So I debated. So I mean, if this zoo, this is for Muggles, but like if this exists at a time when we actually know about Harry Potter, you know what I mean? Then like the Hungarian Horntail is probably like the you know, the one that we're thinking about, because that was the one that Harry had to like compete with.
Yeah, it's the fiercest dragon.
Yeah, but I did look to see, I was curious about like some cool things about other dragons, and there's also the Ukrainian Iron Belly, which is the biggest. So I was like, the biggest dragon would be fun. Yes. There's also the Swedish short snout that has blue fire, which I thought would also be kind of fun.
That would be kind of fun.
I don't know, if I have to pick a specific one, I think I'd probably pick like the Swedish short snout, because I think the blue fire would be pretty fun. And it's like a silver dragon, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, dragon, easily the number one choice to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I have like a category. It's like hard to break down as like as far as team building, but I have like headliners here, and dragon is the 1A headliner for sure. It's not even remotely close.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm a little concerned here, because a lot of on the list I'm looking at, it has kind of short descriptions about each creature, which is very helpful for me as someone who's only read a couple of the books, but seen all the movies. A lot of them end with very aggressive towards Muggles or very aggressive towards humans. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, like, we're obviously assuming that our zoos are going to like stay in one piece. Like, we're not going to have a Jurassic Park type situation, but
famous last
imagine if you were to walk up to like, let's say like a tiger enclosure, And instead of watching this beautiful, elegant creature move within its enclosure, it's like scratching at the glass to get to you. Like that's not a great experience as you're seeing. And I'm giving you props here because I think the Hungarian horntail, like it specifically says, is like the most aggressive and like the most lethal or whatever it is. So I kind of think it's good to maybe lean in, especially if it's it's a zoo for muggles, right? So you're introducing them to these creatures, right? So like just get a dragon in there, not like the one that's most likely
the dragon.
An introductory dragon.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, I
dragons
definitely
for
thought about
babies.
that. Pretty much all my top picks are brutally dangerous.
Good,
Yeah.
But they're like
good.
the coolest things. And so in Fantastic Beasts, like in the actual like textbook that they have, they like rate things on an X scale. And so 1X is considered just a boring creature, and 5 X's is a known wizard killer, can't be tamed. Dragons are 5 X's.
Yeah,
and as
makes
are
sense.
basically everything at the top of my list. So
Okay.
Which-
I'm assuming that like things have been put in place to contain them to some degree. That the visitors aren't
I
dying.
sure hope so.
basically.
Magic walls and stuff, you know, that like
Well, no,
Yeah.
and I'm giving you that. It's not all going to fall
Yeah.
apart, but I'm telling you, watching something
we
that
spared no
actively
expense.
wants to kill you is still not a pleasant experience, even if it
I don't know.
can't.
That's kind of a thrill in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
But either way,
He loves to live on the edge.
exactly. Either way, Kelsey gets a dragon. I think regardless of what the hell kind of dragon she picks, it's the clear #1 pick.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you guys a question to set up my pick here. What animal would you say in real zoos is like the most attractive to people to get them to come see the zoo?
For like most people.
For like
Large
humans,
crowds.
like real world humans in the real world.
I would say like tigers or
Interesting.
lions. I think when you're driving down the highway and you see like a billboard for like the Atlanta Zoo or something,
Tiger
they're
King.
either going to hit you with a tiger, a lion, or a gorilla, basically.
As someone who grew up with no zoos near me at all. And so the first time I went to the zoo, I was like maybe like a late teen or early 20s. The thing I was most excited to see was a giraffe.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you guys have really squandered this for me. You didn't give me the answer I
I'm
wanted
sorry.
at all. I feel like every zoo has a lion and a tiger. I mean, they're cool, but like every single zoo, I'm thinking of the panda. Because only a few have them.
Panda,
if you
polar
ever,
bear also came to mind.
Polar bears are cool, but like if you've ever been to a zoo with a panda, and Preston, I'm sure you have because the Atlanta Zoo has a panda. Like
couple, yeah.
There are like lines to see the panda. No one else seen anything else, but like people are waiting like it's a theme park at a roller coaster to see the pandas for a certain amount of time.
Which,
so
by the way, is hysterical.
To a magical creature is what I'm wondering.
Well, pandas are magical. Everybody knows that.
No,
so my pick is a panda.
So what? No. What is the magical equivalent of the panda? But way better, because I think actually pandas are bad animals.
I was just gonna say this. The line for the Atlanta Zoo to see the panda, Daniel is right. It is incredibly long, and when you get there, they're doing nothing. They're just sitting there.
Since we brought this
There's a reason they are endangered. They are weak as hell.
Brought this up.
They cannot be predators. They are they're like the most easy to target prey for where they naturally come from. Like they're just so soft and like they can't do anything.
Pandas are bad animals. They're bad animals. They're cute, but like they're bad at being animals. They don't have sex, and the only thing they eat is bamboo, which is like doesn't nourish them. They're supposed to eat other stuff, and they choose to eat bamboo, and that's why they eat so much of it because there's no.
I have a counterpoint.
Okay.
Have you ever watched the YouTube video where someone's trying to clean the leaves out of a panda pen and the babies won't let him?
No.
It'll change your life.
I mean, listen, pandas are very cute, but they're bad at being animals. I'm sorry.
But the only thing keeping them alive right now is us, and we just have to be real about that.
And to be fair, the only reason they're endangered is because of us, also. But
yeah, okay, that's
all
fair.
that aside.
That's fair.
Okay. This is so gotten derailed. The point I'm making is the magical equivalent of the panda, because it is barely still alive, is the unicorn. And I'm taking the unicorn. People are gonna flock from everywhere to see the last few unicorns in existence. Real humans fucking adore unicorns. They're not even real. Now unicorns are real, and you get to see them. Now I think these are like the clear second pick behind dragons, but I think they're one of the main headliners. I think
they're in my lowest category.
What?
So I don't. Yeah, they're also in my lowest category.
The horses with a horn.
I have a
They're
specific.
unicorns!
The coolest thing is that they have silver blood, but you'd have to kill one to see that.
Oh my god!
This is
You don't have
true.
to kill it to make it bleed.
So
Okay,
you're
so
just gonna lightly slit it open every day.
it's a great sight for the
You're
kids.
sick.
Oh my god!
No,
you're
I'm not gonna.
disgusting.
No, it's a fucking unicorn, man. And like,
Okay,
listen, pandas are boring animals. Okay, unicorns are something exciting. They're like, oh, there's like 2 unicorns left in the whole fucking world, and they're magic, and they give immortality to people. People are gonna come see my unicorns. I guarantee.
They give immortality people by people like sucking them.
I understand.
Yeah,
Yes, I understand.
sucking them.
Listen, I'm not saying people are
Sucking
going to come to take immortality from them. I'm saying this is part of their like aura. Okay, it's part of their.
Can I get
mystique.
Can I get another take at that, please?
I didn't even hear. What did you? What did you say?
He said they give immortality by people sucking them.
I'm not taking another take at that. I'm gonna leave it in.
You can't take another
Okay,
take. I didn't even notice
here's-
that was
here's
what
the
you
thing.
said.
Here's the thing, and I know this seems like a dumb reason, but I have to give it because it's one of the reasons unicorn moved down my board. I think a unicorn is the kind of thing, and since it's your 1A, it's your main attraction, right? I think the unicorn is the kind of thing where a muggle walks in, and if that's the first thing they see is like this unicorn enclosure, they're like, that's fake. Like, we understand that to be fake. Like, we know what that is, and we would know how to fake it. Think about Kelsey's pick of this blue fire-breathing dragon.
I didn't
Somebody's
even
gonna go up to that and
consider
be like,
this logically.
that's fake.
That's
Nobody's
incredible.
gonna go up to the dragon and be like, oh, it's just all computers. They're gonna
Yes,
go
they
up to the
would.
unicorn and they're gonna be like, some intern duct taped a horn to a poor horse. There is so much magic shit you could have picked, and you picked the thing that humans kind of already came up with on their
Yeah.
own. All right, so I'm
All right,
happy.
what the hell? What are you picking here? Okay,
I got a
apparently
couple-
unicorn is Google Maps all over again. It's a good pick, and people are gonna want to see fucking unicorns. Okay, you guys have like conspired against me again. I'm not having it. I feel good about my unicorn pick.
All right. How does it feel to be me, Dan?
I wouldn't know.
Just let it- I'm
It's a
gonna let
good
it
pick.
fester.
Okay, you guys are wrong, not me. Is it?
Okay.
Am I out of touch? No.
Maybe. We'll find out. All right. Let's move on here. I got 2 picks back to back, and I'm pretty happy about this because I've got 3 creatures in S tier right now. So I'm going to take the top 2. The first I think is kind of obvious, and I'm kind of hoping. Here's a question: if it's a smaller animal, do you get like a couple of them?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think we're ever limited to just one of anything.
No.
Well, you Kelsey
want
can't just have like
15
11
dragons.
dragons.
She can have multiple dragons. She can have
This
whatever
whole
is an
zoo
appropriate.
is just-
She can have an appropriate number of dragons.
What is an appropriate number of dragons?
I don't know, 3 or 4.
7, 8.
Okay. Yeah,
Listen, I
12.
have all the unicorns. Okay, I know that much.
All right. I'm gonna take the Hippogriff.
That's a good choice.
Majestic, truly majestic looking animals.
Okay,
I am thinking-
Okay, hang on. You can't rip unicorn to
Legitimately-
shreds and then say Hippogriff is
Legitimately,
majestic.
no.
Okay,
This is a
Okay,
much better
you go
choice.
to
This is
hell.
this is the unicorn on
God.
freaking performance enhancing drugs right here. This is like the unicorn.
It's
how it was
literally
meant
half
to
a
be.
unicorn already.
It's half
No,
of a
it's a
unicorn and half of a
horse.
giant eagle. No, get out of here.
This is I'm like legitimately angry now.
The problem with your unicorn pick is that the difference that someone is seeing with their muggle eyes between something that is real and something that is supposed to be magical is so small. What have people seen that looks like a dragon? Or that looks like a hippogriff?
Dinosaur bones.
Bones. Bones is what you got, friend.
A horse and a bird. That's all a hippogriff is.
It's
Okay.
just a
They've never
horse
been
if it's a
smushed
unicorn.
together. Oh my god.
A horse and a paper towel roll for a unicorn.
My point is the argument against unicorn is true for literally every creature we're gonna pick here.
I'm gonna expand on my hippogriff pick here.
Okay.
'Cause
Yep.
Daniel can't just take over the show, you know. I see the hippogriff as the part of the zoo where you walk in and there's a Steve Irwin type character who's showing
R.I.P.
you what to do with the hippogriff, right? Like they do in the movie.
Bowing.
You have to approach him slowly. You have to bow, and then they'll let you ride him. And then he does maybe like a lap around the arena, and then he comes back down. And like that's cool. That's an attraction you want. You want the guy who's maybe got like the hawk or eagle at the zoo and teaches him to fly up to somebody in the audience and come back. Like I think that's going to be sweet. It's an animal that like is at least mildly okay being around crowds, as we've seen from the movie.
Definitely. And then the next exhibit will be the unicorn, where Daniel will take a tiny
Oh my-
razor and But a little like
and grant
so
my
that
guests immortality. Yeah, they're gonna hate that for sure. What a horrible idea. I hate you guys so much.
I'm just imagining a zoo attendant walking around with shot glasses, and it's like free immortality. Come get
but
it.
it's like fake immortality. Like,
Fucked up, Daniel. Yeah, it's fucked
Listen,
up.
I wanted to like
you learn nothing.
I wanted to
from the
like the
book.
Hippogriff pick. I had Hippogriffs in my headliners category. But if you're gonna hate on the unicorn, I don't understand how you can then pick the Hippogriff right after it. It makes no sense.
What do you pick after that, Preston?
Preston. So I'm deciding between two here, and I'm gonna go with the one. Yeah, I'm gonna take the. I'm gonna specifically try and get Fluffy, but I'm gonna get the three-headed dog.
Yeah,
I'm assuming, Kelsey, you're more read on this subject than I am. Are they all that size? Are they all that big?
I think so. They're like extremely rare, and I also thought it was very funny. It's like the only thing with like a dumb name. Like its name is Three-Headed Dog.
Yes, that
like
was not
there's
creative.
no other fancy name.
Yes, the rest of the animals are like, let me just pull a random one here. Flobberworm. No, this is just Three-Headed Dog. So no,
Yeah,
I'm excited about
big,
that.
yeah.
I'm excited about that. Also, in the event that there is a catastrophe at the zoo, very easy to tame. Light music, falls right to sleep. So I'm happy with those first two picks. This is the kind of, I'm trying to capture the wonder of the Harry Potter universe, not the existential threat, which is what a lot of these other animals are. So the kind of the wonder, the magic of it is like, wow, how could a hippogriff exist? Not like it's going to kill me, you know?
Interesting. I think those are
I've never wondered at a horse with a paper towel roll on its head.
You guys are gonna end up being my mortal enemies by the end of the show. I think these are both good picks. Okay.
Yeah, we'll go to war with our animals and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll sacrifice my unicorn, and then you won't be able to kill anything else on my team. So
I don't think that's how unicorn blood works.
Get wrecked.
Yeah, I don't think you paid close enough attention in the first book.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like a sword would still hurt.
It would hurt, but okay. The three-headed dog. It's like Cerberus. You know the Greek. Hades dog of the underworld.
The underworld.
Yeah.
Anyway, I am going to take. I still have several headliners here. I am going to take
a goblin.
No, I'm not going to do that. They're not.
Wait, hold on. I'm looking through the list right here, and actually on the Harry Potter list, it does say chicken. Are you sure you don't just want to take chicken?
We could put a little toilet paper roll on it.
No,
it says chickens were kept as pets by the wizarding community. I'm on the Wikipedia Harry Potter page for chicken right now.
Cyberbullying.
I'm reporting you guys the authorities for cyberbullying. I am taking the Sphinx.
That's a great choice.
Ooh.
All right, now tell me that that's a bad pick.
I will say another creation from the Muggle world that they have seen before. At least the concept has like been in the mind because
Preston, are you
see
telling me these people haven't seen the movie Hercules? Because if they've then they've seen a three-headed dog.
It's true. It's animated though. It's not the same.
They haven't seen a live sphinx. They've not seen a real living sphinx, man.
No, I didn't. I can't dog on you for the same reason. I mean, it's good.
No pun intended,
it's huge too. Is it like it's supposed to be just absolutely massive? So.
And the cool thing about the sphinx is it communicates in riddles.
Yeah.
So it can have like people people try to solve the sphinx riddle. But
I do
apparently
like
if you
that
get it
idea.
wrong, then they attack you though. So we'll have to work on that a little bit. Though. It's like if you're skydiving or solving a sphinx riddle, same kind of deal.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like that pick. I did consider that, and I was like, that would be like a fun entertainment thing, but then also that feels like really like you're really exploiting the sphinx.
It's also
it relishes it. Also, it's kind of I don't really know. It's kind of exploited in the Harry Potter universe because
Definitely.
they use it in the
maze.
In the maze. I don't think it's in the movie. I think it's just in the book in the
No,
Triwizard
it's
Cup.
not. It was one of the things I was most. I mean, yeah, the movie sucked compared to the books, but
this is the first I'm hearing of a sphinx in here.
It was really disappointing. That was one of the things that I think would have been like a really, really cool scene for them to leave in, and they didn't for absolutely no reason. Okay, so I guess it's my pick. Oh, I get back to back.
Can I just say a human head? It's gonna be a little unsettling. But
yeah,
anyways,
I think you could get some nightmares after these zoos.
Oh, there are so many nightmare-inducing things on this list. Oh my god, we should build the alternate team of this, where we try and make the worst zoo.
Yeah.
The haunted
according
house.
to you guys, I'm already well on my way.
Yeah. No. Unicorns are so boring that they are not nightmare fuel.
It's true. They're basically
okay.
nothing.
So I'm gonna go with I'm really debating between two, both of which would be nightmare fuel for sure. But I actually only want to take one of them because I think they're like combined, I'd have too many scary things. I think I'm gonna go with a basilisk.
Yep.
Oh, I think
That was my last S tier.
interesting.
But there's a problem that you are gonna have to solve.
Massive problem.
There cannot be, well, there's many problems.
Yes, but there's one major
being
one.
that there can't be any roosters nearby because a crowing rooster kills a basilisk.
Oh shit!
Which seems like an insane kryptonite for
that's a
50-foot snake that lives for
something that
years.
happens in certain parts of the world every morning.
Also, why doesn't Hogwarts just have roosters?
Well, so it does. So remember, Ginny kills all the roosters. That's one of the things she does when she's like controlled by the diary.
Oh yeah.
Again, first I've learned about.
But like, still crazy that they weren't like, let's just get a few more roosters.
Yeah.
So hit me with your complaints about a basilisk.
Well, what are you gonna? You're gonna give it goggles or something? If it looks at somebody, they will die.
No,
this seems like a bad cost of entry.
And if people look at it, they get petrified.
Yeah, well, so once again, I'm assuming we've figured out some way to like not have these animals kill guests.
That's a big question mark, though.
Yeah, I mean,
can you tell us the way you figured out?
The basilisk specifically,
that's cruel.
That's
cruel.
animal cruelty.
That's very cruel.
I think you could easily set up something with like
mirrors. Or something? Yeah.
Yeah, like you can only look at it in the mirrors, but it's still like a real lawsuit if like some asshole's like, I'm gonna look at directly.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of potential lawsuits on our hands. I would not want to be paying the insurance for any of these. Well, not Daniel.
If I'm going to be critical of,
thank you, Kelsey.
If I'm going to be critical of people thinking, that Daniel's unicorn is fake, if somebody has to look at a basilisk through like 6 different rotating mirrors, they're going to be like, okay, well, this is definitely not real.
Yeah.
Like I've probably done that before. I've been to like Universal Studios and they have something like that. I don't know.
They're also not really that exciting. They're just like a big snake. Like mostly just sits there.
Huge.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like people, like a lot of people like the big snakes that we have, and they're not really that big compared, like, you know. So
good point. They got reptile houses at every little zoo.
In the same way that people love horses, so therefore they'll love unicorns.
Hey, people do like horses.
They do. Horse girls? Oh my god.
Exactly. I think we were all horse girls at one point.
Absolutely not. Yeah, so anyways, I picked Basilisk. The other one I was debating, which I'm not picking as my third pick, but like I was considering, is the Acromantula, giant spider. So I was like,
going full villain with it if you go that.
Yeah, like giant spider, giant snake. I was like, I should really only take one of those.
This is where I would have struggled, because the Acromantula we see in the movie is highly intelligent. It's like capable of developing relationships and like essentially a fully sentient decision-making being with children and a family. So like that's where I'm like, I'm concerned about the ethical line. So I know you didn't pick that, but I was thinking about that earlier today.
But I do think it would be cool, but also like a lot of nightmares coming from that. Anyway, so not going to pick that as my third pick. I'm going to pick something different. And this is one of the ones I actually had to read to like make sure I knew what it was, but I thought it was very cool when I read about it. So I'm going to pick a Chimera, which has the head of a lion, the body of a goat, and the tail of a dragon. So I have now 1.3 dragons.
Yes. Wow. That's a great point. Great point. Definitely winning on most dragons by approximately 1.3.
Yeah, the Chimera is very cool.
Well, I wanted to have at least, so there's like a bunch of animals that are like combinations of animals we know. And so I wanted to have at least one of those. So I was like, okay, like hippogriffs, they're cool, like even a griffin. Yeah, and so I was like, I wanna have something that's like a combination, because that's just like kind of like that's something you like do when you're a kid, is like draw drawings where you like combine stuff, and like so. I figure I was like, Chimera, that sounds like it came out of the head of a child. So
no, the Chimera is pretty wild though, like just savagely vicious and aggressive. Yeah. I was also reading about them in like specific to Harry Potter lore, and I saw that some guy who apparently was a famous Quidditch player, but he played for the Chirophily catapults, and he was killed by a chimera. And for a second, it made me think that there was a second sport in Harry Potter. I thought I thought Chirophily catapults was a type of sport, but it wasn't. It's just a Quidditch team. And I think I'm talking about this on the show. Maybe I haven't. But how is there only one sport in Harry Potter?
Crazy, eh?
There's magic and flying on brooms, and they have one sport that they play.
And you guys got to tell me, it doesn't seem like a great sport. The rules.
Oh, it's a horrible sport.
Confusing.
It's an awful sport. It's straight up bad.
Oh, we can just disagree on that.
Wait, Quidditch?
I think Quidditch is cool.
It's like, I'm sure it's a thrill to watch, but like the rules of the game are bad.
Like
basically,
the game. Another sport that has a kill-all switch in the
game.
It's
not meaningless. It's not meaningless.
It's effectively meaningless.
No, it's not. There's been times Gryffindor lost once after they caught Harry caught the snake, but they still lost.
But very rarely.
Well, you gotta get good. Seeker.
Listen.
Get good.
Quidditch has extraordinarily stupid rules. We should all be able to agree on that, despite the fact that it's cool because it's got balls and people flying on brooms.
It's not the balls that make it cool. To clarify,
it kind of is.
Everybody's favorite part about Quidditch
if it's just people flying on brooms, and it's boring.
Well, it's still better than anything we've seen.
I don't know. I would rather watch a soccer game than
your assessment of the world is crazy. To put it lightly.
That is the subtitle of this entire podcast.
Yeah, that's fair actually. Okay, my next pick here, I still have some headliners here, so I'm gonna take the Thunderbird.
Oh, that's a great choice.
I have a question.
Okay.
Sorry, but I loved this animal when I was looking at it. It's like so sweet. It's like very much my vibe. Like these like giant eagle things, so cool. But it can make storms when it's flying
That's the whole
around.
thing.
That seems like it's gonna affect other things you've got going on and potentially people you've got there. So are you? I'm not just gonna pick, but I'm asking you: are you like taming it so that it doesn't do that? Because you're just gonna let it rain. Let it rain everywhere.
Listen, man, it rains sometimes. It storms sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
do you know? Okay, so the whole thing with the Thunderbird is that this is like an actual Native American mythological creature, and so like Thunderbirds were the reason in Native American, like Southwestern Native American mythos that like we have thunderstorms because Thunderbirds would create them. So like by that logic, they don't just create thunderstorms all the time. Like they create thunderstorms when thunderstorms happen.
I suppose that's true. Okay, that's fine. I'm envisioning a situation in which it's a beautiful day outside and a kid comes up because he's an idiot and he starts tapping on the fence or the glass or whatever. He's like, "Hey, do something!" And then the kid gets struck by lightning.
Well, they're gonna be flying around. They're massive flying birds that can create.
They're huge
storms.
Yes.
They're awesome creatures. So
I had them in A tier, so I can't knock it as much as I want to because they're just so cool. Oh, they're so cool.
They're extremely cool. And I'm glad to get a flying thing. Kelsey had the dragon right off the bat, and then Preston had the hippogriff right off the bat. I think getting at least one flying creature is critical. So I'm really glad to get the Thunderbird. I think the Thunderbird is not quite definitely on the tier of the dragon, not quite on the tier probably of a hippogriff, but it's close. It's up there, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice.
That brings it to me.
That does bring it to you. Back-to-back picks.
I'm going to take a risk here, and I'm going to go with an animal that I don't think appeared in the movies. And so far, I'm kind of going for the Twitter vote, right? I'm going for the animals everybody knows. I've got Fluffy and Buckbeak, everybody's favorites. But I'm going to take one that's just like has absolutely fascinated me. And I'm going to tell you, when you see this one, you're going, "Oh, that's not fake. They can't fake that." And it's the
I love that this is where your brain went with it.
I know. Listen, it's the Hippocampus, which because nobody listening at home knows what that is. Yes, which is weird, but no, trust me, this is what this is called. The Hippocampus is essentially front half is horse, back half is like mermaid tail, like large fish, like dolphin.
Oh yeah.
This thing is wild.
Another Greek thing.
Yes, it looks like in even like the ancient drawings of it. You're right, from like ancient Greece. It looks just beautiful. It's really ridiculous. So I'm trying to lock down kind of an aquatic section.
You know what this sounds like to me?
Well, Sounds like a better unicorn.
Sounds like a wannabe unicorn to me.
Like a water
God,
unicorn.
yeah. If they only could put a horn on my horse mermaid, then it would finally become something magical enough to warrant the price of admission. No, it's fantastic. I love this guy. It's just really strange looking. Definitely not like anything you could have even imagined before.
Except for all the people who did imagine it when they imagined
Except
it
for the
thousands
people
of
who
years
imagined
ago.
it.
I'm trying to pretend that these things sort of came into my lap. Yeah, they don't have any history.
Preston actually just now invented the hippocampus. It's not even in Harry Potter.
It's true.
It's weird
true.
that he named it after a part of the brain, but
and I'm gonna draw it on this piece of paper. So with my next pick here, I'm going for a very specific vibe as part of my Muggle Tourist Trap Zoo attraction. A lot of zoos that I have been to, I don't know about you guys, they have some animals, and usually for me, it's been peacocks that are just walking around outside of an enclosure. They're just kind of hanging out with everybody, and it's this cool thing. So I'm gonna go back to the well and get a fan favorite here, and I'm gonna get a phoenix, specifically Fox the Phoenix, but hopefully multiple, just hanging out. I think they're so smart that they don't need to be in an enclosure, right? They understand what's going on here. They'll get housing and fed and all that if they just kind of hang out. And having them kind of outside like that is going to be really cool. I will also say, when they do the fire explosion and are reborn, that's an event, man. If we can somehow figure out how to anticipate when that's going to happen, everybody's going to show up to see that. You know, we're going to sell merch. We're going to sell concessions. It's going to be fantastic to come watch something die and then be reborn. I'll
they're
also
so cute
say,
when they're little babies in the ashes.
Yeah. The mascot of the city in which I was born, which is Atlanta, Georgia. So big fan here. We're getting the Phoenix.
Is that where Rise Up comes from for the Falcons?
Correct. And it has to do with being burnt down during the Civil War. So we won't get into any of that.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
Gotcha.
But a lot of Atlanta stuff you'll see has the Phoenix on it.
Well, this is the steal of the draft so far. This is a phenomenal pick. I had Phoenix queued up as my next pick. You're right. I mean, like, they're gorgeous birds. People are gonna come see them for that. And then, like, people will come in flocks, no pun intended, to see them die and then be reborn. Like,
yes,
that will be such a draw that this might be the best pick of the entire draft so far. Maybe even
Let's go.
Like dragons is such a clear number one. I think you had to take them there, but the value of getting Phoenix in the 4th round is
huge.
It's huge.
Enormous. Yeah. Great pick. This might be Preston.
You.
This might be your best pick in the history of the show.
Wow.
That's how strongly I feel about it.
Wow, I love this.
Yeah.
I love this. I'm still thinking it might be the Popeye's chicken sandwich, but that's okay.
I should have gone Phoenix 3rd round and then Thunderbird 4th round, because you probably weren't going to take Thunderbird. So that was a fumble on my part that you scooped up and fucking housed.
Yep.
So good for you. Kelsey, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I love I love at zoos when there's like birds that just walk around wherever, and they go in the like enclosure sometimes. You're like, what are you doing in there? That's like for fancy animals. Up you.
Oh
like,
God, yeah.
I love that. Like, I think it's so
I was
funny.
in Chattanooga, and 2 peacocks got into the petting zoo portion that had like goats and chickens and stuff. It was very strange. I was like, I don't think these guys are supposed to be in here.
I just think it's so funny. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you can literally go anywhere, and you like, not just in the zoo, like just in the world.
They get lots of free food though, you know.
Yeah, like it's funny, and yeah,
they're living the sweet life.
A phoenix would be cool. It'd be one of those ones though that people will be like, "Is that really a phoenix?" Like,
yeah,
that's true.
Is that not just a painted peacock?
That I get. That is pretty tough. They're pretty large. I don't know that it'd be a super great comparison to anything we would see on our day to day. But it definitely
like
doesn't
like
pass my. Sure.
They can carry
maybe.
several humans though. I read that today.
Nice. Well,
they're
that's hard to
incredibly
fake.
strong.
Let's have them do that.
They just drop you off at the
That's our tram
enclosures.
system. Yeah, that's our tram system to get from one section to the other.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try to recover here. There are still lots of things I'd like to pick, but I definitely had Phoenix lined up as my next pick. Instead, I'm going to fill a very similar slot to Kelsey's Chimera and that is with the Manticore. Now, this is another very dangerous one. I don't really like the Sphinx to an extent is dangerous, but I don't really have the dangerous slot filled like you guys do. This also does a good job of kind of like the mishmash of things. And weirdly, it's another creature that has a human face. So I'm kind of stockpiling that a little bit with the Sphinx and now the Manticore, which is weird. But it had the body of a lion and then a giant scorpion's tail.
Oh, that's so spooky.
Yeah.
Really, really horrifying. Another
Freaky.
thing from Greek mythology. And like I'm trying to find exactly where, but like it says something really horrible about the tail. Instant death if you're stung by the Manticore tail, which is in a way is kind of nice, like no pain and suffering,
Yeah, there are a lot of things that are worse than death on this list.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, easily. Yeah, that's a good one. That one's definitely the scary factor.
Yeah,
for sure. And you need that. Like, you need something really.
Yeah, I think you have that a little bit
scary. That like, if I face this in the wild, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
I like that.
No, it's a good pick.
All right, so I have 2 picks now. And
it's just have Kelsey host the show. No one stays on top of the draft more than Kelsey does.
No one's in a later time zone than me. So
that's true.
So I have 2 picks. I'm pretty torn, to be honest, about what I'm going to pick. I have some thoughts. So basically, I have 3 scary things. I would say like the dragon is, even though it's probably like the most scary, it's probably like the least scary of what I have in terms of like nightmare fuel type things. Because the dragon would be like so cool. Basilisk is terrifying. Chimera, terrifying.
I think people are like just like they're legit just gonna die at your zoo. It's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is what it is. So anyway, so I was also thinking that I would like some sort of like water creature. I would like to have an aquatic section, and I saw a Kelpie. And I thought they sounded really cool. So it's a shape-shifting water demon. Usually a horse. But it's basically like a cool watery horse. Cooler than a horse.
I can't imagine why anyone
Prentice,
would want
you
to
can
take
just shut your mouth and not say anything. You obviously love it.
The worst pick I've ever heard, because who would ever want to see any kind of magical version of a horse? Can't imagine anyone who'd like that.
Oh my god. We've all each got our horse archetype now.
Yeah, that's true.
And I would say I'm giving a high five to Kelsey for a cool one.
I think it'd be cool. I think it would be I like the idea that it's shape shifting too, because then it could be like a revisit kind of like appeal, like, oh, like when I went and saw the Kelpie last time, it looked like a horse, but maybe next time it'll look like something else. I don't love that it's a demon, but you know what, you can't win them all. Like, what are you gonna do?
Oh my god.
It's a minor
it's
detail.
Cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah, demon is like used in the loose sense of the word here, but if you look up pictures of this for people at home, like it's pretty sweet.
It is
I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
it's pretty creepy looking. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's very dark and gloomy.
And so, with that in mind, knowing that I have just created like a house of horrors so far, I knew I needed something really cute.
No.
So this is my.
Don't do this.
This is my like thing to appeal to the children. I didn't know when. I've had this. This was like actually the first thing I thought of when we talked about this draft. But I was like, I know I don't need to take it that early, but I know I need to take it when it's time. And based on Preston's eyes right now and how sad he looks, I know this is the right time to take it. I'm taking a Niffler.
No!
Because
damn
Nifflers are the best creatures. They're the cutest little thing. Don't at me. They're like...
Oh, they're extremely cute.
Oh my god, I literally, in prep for this, watched the scene, and I've watched the scene of like the Niffler in Fantastic Beasts when he's in the bank. I've watched it a lot of times because the little sounds that he makes, he's a little platypus, and he's got cute little feet, and he puts the gold in his belly, like everything. Whoever created that, like in terms of like made the like developed that little like creature for the movie, like actually was like, this is exactly what it will look like. They deserve a raise. Like, it's the cutest thing ever. So I want a Niffler. I want him in the petting zoo. I want people to be able to like, you know, the way that like in a petting zoo you can like go get feed out of like a candy machine.
Oh yeah.
You go get coins, little tiny coins or something, like little metal buttons. And then you go, and then you can hide them around. The nifflers go sniff them out, and they go. They're so cute, and I just want a bunch of nifflers.
This is essentially your puffin section, where you go and you see the puffins, and they're just like waddling around, and they like dive into the water and stuff.
You mean penguins, but yes.
What did I say?
Puffins.
Oh, it's late. I meant penguins.
I like puffins a lot, so I thought you were doing a specific shout out to Newfoundland there, because baby puffins are called pufflings, which is an important thing for everyone to know.
That is really interesting. Thank you.
You learn something new every day.
Anyways, yeah. So Niffler's my 5th pick. I knew I was starting to get close to having to take it, and I'm so glad I did. So.
And they for those who don't know, they look like little
platypuses.
Like cute little platypuses, but cuter. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're freaking adorable, and I was really hoping they would come back to me, and yeah.
I couldn't let it go any longer.
I think you timed it just right. I was considering them for my next pick. It sounds like Preston definitely would have taken them in his next 2 picks.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's enough, like to counteract the nightmare chamber you have in the rest of your exhibits, but it's going to be a good palate cleanser, between if you want to see the dragon, go to the Niffler. Maybe see the Basilisk, maybe pass because it's real risky. If you do, go see the Niffler.
Yeah.
Visit the Chimera, back to the Niffler. Etc. Although he's probably
it's like amuse-bouche.
People are going to lose things. People are going to lose watches and stuff at this.
It's true.
There's
if any of them get out,
warnings.
It could be an issue.
Yep.
Yeah. But do not expose any shiny items.
I think that could be the tagline of my zoo. Could be an issue.
Could be an issue.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. With my next pick, I am going back to the skies, and I'm going to take a fire drake. And this is like a dragon light, essentially. They don't breathe fire, but they do emit sparks. So I'm envisioning some really cool fireworks shows with fire drakes at nighttime. And they look like dragons from a distance. So like I said, they're basically my dragon light, and I feel pretty good about getting them in round 5. They're cool flying lizards that they're living fireworks essentially, which is very cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that pick.
Yeah, pretty solid. You're getting a good value out of that.
Definitely redeeming yourself.
That's the nicest thing Kelsey has ever said to me. So thank you, guys.
Easily.
All right, Preston, you have your final 2 picks of the draft.
Okay. So one of them I know I want to take, but I was hoping to take it last, but because I can't decide who I'm going to take 5th, I'm actually going to take it now. So whatever, that was pointless.
Yeah.
So
thank you for sharing your thought process, though.
This I feel like I'm overthinking maybe a little bit, and I know Dan's going to tell me that's where I screw myself up, and I'm doing okay so far. So I don't want to do that, but I really do think this would be cool. I want something where the daredevils go to the zoo. They're like, they
go to my zoo.
They want a thrill. They want to experience something new up close and personal. Yes. And a lot of my stuff is kind of harmless right now. I mean, the Phoenix, literally, they don't have enclosures. So this is okay. I'm going to take the boggart.
Oh.
Now, conceptually, I think it's an interesting attraction, especially around Halloween time. I'm selling tickets galore. It quite literally displays your worst fear to you. Mm-hmm. I think you have this kind of in its own little section of the zoo where no kids are going to accidentally wander in there. And this is something for the grown-ups or maybe for the college kids. They're like, I bet you I can beat it. I'm going to go to this thing and beat it. And it's like swinging the hammer and seeing how high you can hit the bell. I think it's an interesting sort of attraction.
I think it's definitely more of an attraction in terms of
yes.
It's like an activity, which
yes.
I do like. That's kind of fun. I lightly considered it, but I didn't want it because I was like, I don't know. You could end up with some really. People have some pretty messed up fears. You could end up with some pretty.
I agree.
Bad things.
We're gonna have to set some parameters around how many people get to be in the room and stuff like that. It's gonna be a whole. It's gonna be a whole thing. Well, where I'm at right now is if you live here in Atlanta, every October, Fright Fest comes to Six Flags and they build out all the haunted houses and stuff.
Wow, Six Flags.
I'm feeling that a little bit. It is very American. I'm feeling that right now. Like I feel like I'll have a nice seasonal attraction that will bring in a lot of people, and honestly, kind of cool all year round. But definitely the adults only section of my zoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
that classic adults only section of the zoo.
Every zoo's got an adults only section.
Let's not explore that section of the zoo anymore. Okay.
Okay. So the last pick, I like it, but it's not super exciting because I was really hoping the Niffler would fall to me. But I'm kind of going to fall back on I need a reptile to fill in a reptile house because I think I don't have one at this point. And I'm going to go with what was the coolest one to me, which is called a Rune Spore, which is essentially a cobra. It's about 7 feet long and it has 3 heads. So again, very like gimmicky, but I need that reptile factor. I need something that's a little scary, and this thing is pretty scary. But I'm not like shaking the earth with this one here, but it's a nice big 3-headed snake. So, pretty cool. Better than a unicorn.
Easily.
You're really locking down the 3-headed thing.
Yeah.
This is true. 3-headed dog, 3-headed snake. Yep. I feel good about it.
I've got human faces. You have 3-headed things, and Kelsey just has death throughout.
Death incarnate.
Yes.
So we've
also
all developed our
a Niffler.
themes. Okay, this is my final pick. I think I have to go aquatic here, and I think Kelsey stayed away from the mer people. I think I will take the mer people.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I know. So the thing is, according to
I would
this
just like
list
the viewers to keep in mind that mer people, as I stated, were classified as beings and then actually chose not to be classified as creatures at all. So I think we're in the moral gray area.
Listen.
Yeah.
This happens with the zoo no matter what.
So it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm leaning into it. I'm simply creating the thing that muggles are going to come see. I think the singing is really the big component here. Like if you remember when Harry listens to the egg underwater, it's like the most beautiful singing you've ever heard in your life. So I think that alone as an attraction is really cool. But I think people are going to want to come and see, like, they can have a vast, expansive, they can be in a whole lake like they were in Harry Potter, but I'm just going to have a thing where people can come and see them sometimes, you know what I mean? And then can put their ear into the water somehow and listen to their singing.
You're leaning into the human face aspect a lot.
A lot.
Sure. Well, sure.
I mean, what else do
people
people go to zoos for but to see human faces? So
Exactly. Kelsey knows what I'm talking about.
So Dan, here's the thing. I feel like I've piled on this episode on you. I promise I'm not trying to.
Okay.
But I find this kind of morally reprehensible.
Listen, mer people are not real, Preston. It's okay.
No. It feels different to me than all the other ones. Like it feels like this. I think it's because they're called mer people.
And mer people are just like fishy humans.
Yes.
Well,
totally agree.
Which they wouldn't like.
A lot of muggles are going to come to look at them at my zoo.
But they exist. They exist in packs, groups, or communities, neighborhoods. Like, where does that line start to get drawn?
So do lots of animals. Listen, man, the human conception of animal versus human is fucked up as it is. Okay. We
lean into it.
We can go down that path if we want.
So why not just
I'm going to
because
because my concern here is not to set the moral standards of what animal entrapment should be. My goal is to have the most alluring place for muggles to come and look at magical creatures. And mer people are one of the most alluring magical creatures. I'm sorry. That's just the fact of the matter.
You tried to build a zoo and really you built a prison. So good job.
No. Listen, this can be a safari. They can exist in their normal natural habitat. I'm just going to make it so that people can come observe them in their natural habitat.
I'm just going to make money off of it.
Listen, all of us are taking beautiful magical creatures and using them for profit, okay? It's so different because there's people in the name of this creature. I'm sorry, but that's just true.
Dan, I'm being honest. I feel like with my team here, I actually stand a good chance to win, so I'm just going all in, baby. All chips are on the table. No, you're morally reprehensible, and I could go to Kelsey Jr. It'd be great, but I wouldn't be going home. So
Be the last thing you ever do.
I think Preston has a pretty strong chance of winning the vote as well.
I think so.
But I think you're being hypocritical to say that picking mer people is morally reprehensible when the whole task is of the same realm. That's all I'm saying.
I disagree. I think safaris in a lot of parts of the world are built to protect animals, to like.
So what's different about mer people then?
Treat animals and then release. What's different about mer people is they're like a community. I don't know.
They're people.
I don't know. I trust the voters to be with me on just
are animals that live in groups not a community of animals?
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Meerkats.
So that's not different.
Or like wolves.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying. Okay, here's the thing. I agree with Preston in concept. I think he's doing a terrible job of arguing it.
Okay.
I think you guys are both being a little hypocritical.
That is not the first time that has been said in this week or today.
All right, Kelsey, why don't you give us the last pick of the draft here?
I'm gonna take. It sucks because it's the less good version of something that Preston took, but I'm gonna take the Griffin.
Yeah.
I think it's comparable to the Hippogriff. It's just a different back half.
A cooler back half, you might.
I think a cooler back half. I think cooler, like objectively cooler.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, amen. Unicorns suck. I think it's objectively cooler, but I think because Buckbeak exists, people would be like really thrilled about a Hippogriff. So I get that, that's kind of like more of the money pick. But I think a Griffin is cool, and I think it would be. But once again, I like the animals or the creatures that are combinations of like other creatures. I think that's kind of fun. So yeah, I'm gonna take a Griffin as my final pick, which I think is like pretty
good value
in the last, like, as a 6th round pick.
You're getting something that people have heard of before, which is if the last round of this draft, I mean, that's a good value because most of this other stuff is just so out there.
Yeah.
Griffins are objectively cool. It feels maybe a little vanilla for a Harry Potter Magic creature draft. Yeah, I think it's the only thing you can really knock it with. But okay. Listen, unicorns. We're not going to get into it again. Unicorns are majestic, beautiful creatures. People love unicorns. People are going to see my unicorn. But that does conclude the Harry Potter creatures to put in a nature preserve, zoo, safari park type deal. The teams are as follows. Kelsey has a dragon, a basilisk, a chimera, kelpie, nifflers or a niffler, and a griffin. I have unicorns. I have unicorns, a sphinx, a thunderbird, a manticore, fire drake, and mer people. And Preston has hippogriff, the 3-headed dog, hippocampus, phoenix, a boggart, and a rune spore. So we're going to be right back to break those down in just a second. Okay, I am only asking this because I ask it every episode. We all know what you guys are going to say to this, but what was the worst pick of the draft, y'all?
The unicorn.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's just like wild
really think
to
you
me.
guys are people are not going to agree with you on this. I really feel very.
But if people listen to the episode, they will.
Yeah. So
no,
let's just remember what your last criticism. But let's just remember what your criticism of my last pick just was. Bit vanilla for a magical creature zoo. And I have something that is half eagle, half lion.
But that doesn't matter. You got. I frankly, I'm shocked that you guys are so dismissive. Like, there's a reason unicorns are as popular as they are. People are going to be like, "Oh, I don't want to see a unicorn," because people know what a unicorn is. Okay. Unicorns are popular because they're like unbelievably beautiful, enchanting, majestic creatures.
No, listen. Unicorns are special because they're the closest thing that humans can like conceptually grasp to like a magical world. But we have an actual magical world and a big one.
Yeah, and in the magical world, they are still enchanted by unicorns. Even the characters in Harry Potter are like, holy shit, a fucking unicorn.
So
holy shit. Harry Potter fucking fought dragons and was like, holy shit, a unicorn.
Okay, no. That's not fair though, because he was 11 and had seen nothing when he saw the unicorn. He would not have been as excited about the unicorn in the 6th book.
And the exciting part about the unicorn is that you could kill it, suck out its blood, and live forever. How are you going to demonstrate that in your zoo?
You don't have to demonstrate it. You don't have to demonstrate it to know that it's fucking cool.
Listen, I get the thought process. I really do. I really think that you're going to make a lot of money off the people who are just trying to like shut their daughters up one day to go to the zoo and see a unicorn. Like, I get that you're going to make money off those people. I just can't imagine being like, I'm going to make a zoo of whatever magical creatures I want to pick a unicorn.
And I'm going to take something I've seen
I'm telling you, people are going to agree with me. I'm telling you, people are going to agree with me. You guys are out of touch.
Listen, we're going to die on this hill.
Well,
I am dead on this hill. Daniel killed me an hour ago.
I'm happy to lay dead on that hill. I feel very strongly that people will want to see unicorns. I thought the worst pick was the boggart. No, actually, no. The boggart has a high ceiling, but I think a very low floor. I think the boggart could be really bad. It's a very risky pick. I think the basilisk is actually the worst pick because I don't really see how people are going to see that safely. Like even like that's true for a lot of things. That's true for a lot of things picked here. But like even in the magical world, there aren't really any good solutions to seeing a basilisk and not having it like immensely fuck you up, if not instantly kill you. So I think that's a very, very real problem. I actually had basilisk on like do not pick this list. And that was the only thing that got picked that was like that. So what was something we've kind of touched on a lot of them already, all three of us. But what was something that you like had kind of wanted to pick but ended up running out of room for?
I very badly wanted to find space for a matago, or it's called a matagot, something like that. It's essentially a large cat, which is not anything that we haven't seen before, but it can multiply. Like it can multiply itself into at least illusions of like a dozen cats or actual physical forms. Like that's a cool thing. But if my thinking there is that if it chooses to not do that because of, I don't know, lack of stimulation or something, then it's just a big cat. So the risk factor there, not so great.
I considered taking, I already listed a bunch, but like if I wanted to have a really cute zoo, I definitely would have taken like some other stuff. But the thing I haven't mentioned that I also had on my list as a consideration was a Yeti. I thought it'd be kind of cool to like, you could really advertise that to be like, you can see the abominable snowman or like whatever people call, there's names for it all over the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that would be like a really easy way to advertise to people. And I thought it would be kind of cool, like to have like a cold section.
That'd be pretty cool.
So I considered that as well. Also, they're 15 feet tall, which I thought was pretty crazy. That's big.
That is big. There are several for me. I thought pixies would be kind of fun. You could like have like an aviary of pixies. Yeah, that would be kind of like a less dangerous or less like scarring kind of like trickster Halloween experience thing that Preston was going for. The alchemy, like I said, with the silver eggs, I think would be a lot of fun. And I thought I didn't pick them because I didn't really feel like how there would be a way to make it actually work. But thestrals, I think they're one of the cooler things in the Harry Potter universe, which are the horses that like pull the carts.
Yeah.
And you can only see them if you've witnessed death. And that's just like a very cool lore thing to me. But I couldn't really find a way. It's like, could you do a thing like where you kill, insects or something? And like, but I feel like it implies human death. Like if
it does,
human die. So yeah, I think there was just too many question marks there.
I also thought about them and be hard not to. I thought it was really funny. I was having a conversation with my boyfriend before this started, and I was like, he mentioned the thestrals, and then he was like, "Why don't you just say that they're there?"
Well,
secret seventh pick of the draft.
Like they just be like, for most people, that would work.
Yeah,
maybe
they're here.
Because
we've had a really privileged life, so
because we're talking about that, there are so many creatures on this list when I was doing my research. Like, okay, I'm going to talk about the Tebow. Dangerous ash-colored warthog-like creature.
Ooh, just looks like a warthog though, really.
Yeah, which can turn invisible. Okay, well, shit. Now, like, if I have something in my zoo that can turn invisible, odds are pretty good somebody's going to show up and just not see it that day, and that's a big bummer. But like half of the animals on this stupid list can turn invisible whenever they want to.
Yeah, what sort of thing about going to a zoo is like going to exhibit and not seeing the animal there. That's like
exactly huge bummer. So we had to avoid those a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So who won the draft?
I mean, I like it, and I think I have enough fan service in mind, which I think is going to bode well for me. The Rune Spore pick at the end kind of feels like a waste. It feels like if I had maybe done more research or something, I could have found something that would have worked, but I don't know. The top couple, the Hippogriff, Fluffy, the Hippocampus, nobody's going to know what it is, but I love it, and I think it's cool. And the Phoenix, even if the Boggart doesn't work, I mean, it's still such a strong team.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really torn because I think the issue is that like familiarity is going to play a big factor into this. Like just like recognizing, like people recognizing the animals without having to look them up is like a really helpful thing. Like I think that a Kelpie is super cool, but did I know what that was? No. Same thing with like the Hippocampus. Like I think that's really cool, but I wouldn't have known like offhand what that is. I think mine is really cool, and I actually think the Niffler is like a really funny pick.
Huge pick.
I could see it going between me or Preston. I don't think that your draft is bad, Daniel.
It's a lot of human faces.
I think it's like a bit, it's a lot of
bit weird
human-y things.
It's a bit weird, but maybe that's just me. I'm easily startled.
Massive man-eating three-headed dog.
Yes.
That's not frightening to you?
No.
You have a thing that literally its existence is your greatest fear.
It's to frighten me. Well, listen, I'm not going to use that particular part of the zoo.
That's the adults only section.
It's the adults only or not for Preston section. Yes.
Okay. I think you guys have like really just beaten me down this episode to the point where I can't pick my own, even though I think I have a pretty good chance of winning the popular vote. I think like I hit a lot of the things I take are commonly known, well-known things. I think I have like that going for me very much so in my team. I love the Phoenix pick so much that I will take Preston's team, even though I think the Rune Spore could have been greatly improved on, and I really have a lot of question marks about the Boggart. But yeah, I mean, getting the Hippogriff, the three-headed dog, like he got off to such a good start. Especially if you like put Phoenix, if you swap the Phoenix in the third round. Hippogriff, three-headed dog, and Phoenix are such a strong core. And like Kelsey's on paper is excellent, but the Basilisk is just such a problem. Like I'm not going because of the Basilisk. I'm just not. I'm not going anywhere even remotely close to where I know that a Basilisk is.
Just bring a rooster.
Happening. But then I kill the thing, and then what's the point of that, I still think my unicorn pick is going to be much more well received by the voting public than you guys. And as always, it does come down to the Twitter vote. The Twitter vote has like kind of died these last few episodes. I'm not sure why. Yes. So please go vote on the Twitter. It's like, it's sad to, we put a lot of work into the episodes and then into the thought on the teams, and like 10 people vote on the Twitter.
I want to win.
Not to sound like sad and desperate or anything, but just,
not to be desperate, but please help us.
It's helped. It's good to engage with the show, But yeah, so please vote on Twitter at DraftedPod. Also, here's a hot tip. Because I have heard that people say they don't like to vote because it's like hard to remember what the teams. If you go to the YouTube, the second half of the show will have the teams listed. So if that's why you aren't voting and then you forget or whatever, go to the YouTube, get our YouTube views up. And then that'll be your preview of the graphic, which we usually release on Friday to not be a spoiler. But yeah, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, join the Discord, support us on Patreon. The links to the latter two will be in the show description. Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us this week. Sorry we kept you up so late. We didn't, like I said, we had some technical difficulties right in the middle of the show that kept Kelsey up. But it is always a pleasure to have you.
It was so fun to be here, and this was my favorite topic of draft that I've done so far. It was actually the only one I felt educated enough to to actually make informed choices. So
yeah, it's kind of wild that we hadn't done a Harry Potter one. I don't really know how that slipped through the cracks, but yeah, Kelsey, we
participate.
I mean, it's going to be a long time, I think, before we can have you back, because I'm usually the one in charge of getting the guest, and I
just bullied you for 2 hours.
Yeah, the emotional scarring is to take some time to recover for me. No, I'm kidding. It was great. And for Preston and myself, we will talk to you guys next week.
Good fun.